Welcome to the Grizzly Adams Show. Here out doing my Grizzly Adams thing. I'm happy you're here. It has been a crazy couple of days. I'm surprised I even got the time to do this. It is raining. Everything's soaking wet around me. But the Green Bean Traveling Circus has made it to Central Virginia just in time for the rains. And I couldn't be more upset about it. Quite frankly, everything is soaking wet. But it is what it is. I got to record this thing. I look forward to it. I do my research, and we got to do it. We got to do it. I love doing it. I love talking to you guys. We had an interesting week, did we not? We had an interesting week. All kinds of crazy stuff. We got guys wearing football helmets telling us to go screw. We got other guys talking about the draft picks in the 2008 draft for some reason. Don't know why. It's funny, it's like we talk about Vernon Gholston, which was the last draft of a really good regime as far as drafting went. The same regime got DeBrickashaw Ferguson, Nick Mangold, Darrelle Revis, David Harris. And even in that very draft, we talk about Vernon Gholston, and we never talk about the second first-round pick that we got. We had two because we traded back in at the end of the first. Dustin Keller, who stayed on our team for, 6 years. He was great. He's a good tight end for us. Ended up having a really devastating knee injury, and it was a shame to see his career end that way. But, it's just funny. It's like when you look at things through a clear lens, you can see what we're up against out here. You can see what we're up against. And it's just exhausting. It's like, I got into a conversation with somebody this week, and they said, well, tell me where they're wrong. Tell me where, these guys that are talking about the negative Jets stuff are wrong. And it's like, that's, and I get it. If you look at things through a very black and white lens, like, are we right or wrong? It's easy. The Jets have not been the greatest franchise. And this particular decade, this 2010 to, until today, has been literally, it's up there with the worst decade in Jets history. We had the Lou Holtz baloney. If you're out there and you're like, what's the Lou Holtz baloney? Take a look at it. Take a look at the Lou Holtz baloney. That's what we're going to call it from now on. It's embarrassing. It's downright embarrassing what happened there, and we had such hopes going into that one. So it's been a bad decade. Anybody can see that. Anybody can see that. But it's more about why is it that when we have the past 12 months have been so incredibly groundbreakingly positive, and there's almost no discussion about it. And if it is brought up, there's a negative attachment to it. There's like but he did this, but, and it's just like, here, like, tell me what's more interesting. And then we'll get into some other stuff here. You tell me what's more interesting. Back in 2008, the Jets drafted a pass rusher, and I have as many sacks as he has because he didn't get any sacks, right? And then he went to Chicago and said the Jets are going to rue the day, and he didn't get any sacks up there either. So he was one of the most dominating, pass rushers in college football out of Ohio State, and he did nothing in the NFL. Why? I don't know. He was cut out of stone, that guy. So what's more interesting, talking about a draft, one draft pick from 13 years ago, or what's been happening the last 12 months? So the Jets finally hire a football GM, the first one, really. And Mike McCagnon was kind of supposed to be, but let's not forget, he was about to be fired because of his inadequacies down in Texas and Houston. He was about to be fired. And he gets hired. They leapfrog him over a bunch of positions to get to general manager. So we had him. But Mike Tannenbaum was an accountant. Parcells liked him, and he taught him some stuff. And crazy trader Mike. He did some good things for us. But the truth is, he wasn't a football man. And if you want to know, if you want to check into that, just look at Google Mike Tannenbaum punt. That's it. Just Google it. You'll see what I'm talking about. You tell me if that's a football guy. I mean, look, we've all fallen down. We've all fallen down. But I don't know if I've ever looked like that. I just don't think I have, man, because I'm a football guy, right? So, and then you got John Idzik, who is not a football guy. He's an accountant, essentially. Did some good things monetarily. He did. But he was unqualified to actually build a team because he doesn't know how to. Then, so then we talked about Mike McCagnon, and then it was like we finally got a football GM coming from just the most impressive lineages. Comes to this team, guts it, makes some of the most difficult decisions ever, like deciding to move on from the self-proclaimed president of the football world, the former consensus best player in the draft, Leonard Williams, and the franchise quarterback, knowing this direction, we could feel all emotionally attached to it all we want, but makes the decision to cut his losses, stop the direction heading toward the cliff, reroute the entire course of this franchise, gaining in the process in less than 12 months an entire draft class of additional draft assets by trading 3 players. 2 firsts, a second, 2 thirds, a 4th, 5th, and a 6th. That's a whole draft class, and it's a top-heavy draft class. It's more than a draft class, quite frankly. So kind of wondering excitedly, what is he going to do with all this acquired? What's more exciting, Vernon Gholston or that? If they mention that, it's all about, but he has to hit on his picks or else this was all for nothing. He gave away one of the greatest safeties in franchise history. He gave away a quarterback, young quarterback. So that's all I ask. It's not that you can point to Vernon Gholston all day. You can point to Dwayne Robertson all day. You can point to Mike Nugent every day of the week. But it's like talking about Darius Hayward-Bay for the Raiders. It's like, there's more exciting things. There's better storylines. So when you look at John Gruden and all the things he's doing and the move to Las Vegas and the new stadium, if you're talking about Darius Hayward-Bay, it's like you're digging up old shit, man. You're living in the past. It's like, what is that? That story's irrelevant. Now, if you're going to use that to come to a conclusion, like here's my data. Here's my accumulated data to get to the point, which is X, Y, or Z. Okay. That's fine. You know what I mean? It's fine. You can do that. We all have different conclusions, and that's fine. But it's never that, man. It's never that. And that's because these people are hacks. And that's what it is. I would rather listen to Matt O'Leary or Cool Your Jets, Robbie Sabo, Joe Blewett, Ryan. Shit. I'd rather listen to these guys any day of the week over Rich Cimini, who, by the way, after we did all that this week, and I had literally hundreds of people DM me and everything else, tell me that they were in with what. And I'm not into cancel culture or anything like that. It's not like that. It's not like go fucking ruin his credit, and I don't care. I'm just saying, why are we following these guys if this is what they're doing? And let them know. It's not cool. Let them know. Right on the heels of that, he comes out with this first scoop in I don't even know how long. And what is the scoop? A scoop that all of us know. Robert Saleh and Richard Sherman. There's a history there. Watch out. He didn't tell us anything was happening. He said that that's possible, but there are obstacles. What are the obstacles? He doesn't want to go to a losing franchise, and he doesn't want to leave the West Coast. No shit. This is not a scoop. And if it happens, he'll say he broke it. It's just, you can see the game. You know what I mean? Ugh. So anyway, I thank everybody for the support with that. Again, I don't want to make it a part of our life. I don't want to send them letters and you're there. I don't want to do any of that stuff. I'm just saying, hey, dude, we have more power and we have a louder voice than we think. We don't have to just take something. And somebody said to me, I don't want to cut off my nose to spite my face and lose out on a beat writer's report. Okay, if that's how you see it, I don't know, man. I don't look at any of these. When is the last scoop? It comes from Rappaport, Schefter, or Glazer. That's who it comes from. Or what's the other guy? Yeah, I forget his name. He's pretty good. The guy who gave us the inside scoop on, the Adam Gase, Mike McCagnon thing. Remember that? What the hell's his name? I forget. He does pretty good stuff. He doesn't seem motive driven. You know what I mean? He's just like, hey, man, this is what I'm hearing. And that's, dude, if shit's bad and you're reporting it, that's fine. Tell us what's going on. Remember how much he told us? If you remember, I'll put his name on the screen. Boo, I'll put it there because I can't remember shit half the time. If you're telling us, you remember it's like he said, listen, there was a huge fight in there. Like Adam Gase didn't stay for the draft because he didn't believe what Mike McCagnon's doing. And there was a big brawl and Mike McCagnon's going to get fired. The Jets came out and said, that's absolutely absurd. Even Manish Mehta and Samini, all these guys said, that's bullshit. We didn't hear any of that stuff. And then a week later, he was fired. So somebody had the scoop and somebody didn't. It's just that simple, So that guy, it's like, hey, man, if you're providing us something, of course. But what are they providing? That's my question. So let's do this. I'm like 30 minutes into this thing. I haven't even told you anything about my stuff. Look at the stuff. So I'd like to tell you guys, I was recently sent this. I got this yesterday. I have a whole bunch of stuff. Now, as I'm out here trying to build this channel and connect with people and all this sort of thing I'm doing out here, there are people out there that can do other things to help me do that, right? So I want to just tell you, this flag, look at this tumbler. Look at this thing. This is like it's like a Yeti quality. It's not Yeti. Something else. But it's all vacuum. You know what I mean? Like when you pick one up, you feel it. But look at this thing. So I'm going to plug this guy because he's so incredibly awesome. Like if you have a business and you're looking for promotional products, sometimes you buy 1,000 pens and then the ink wears off in one use. It's by the end of the day, it's gone. And you can save money and go cheap, but it's when you're doing this stuff, dude, I'm so impressed with. I said, yeah, let me get a coffee mug or whatever. And it's this, I didn't expect this. This flag is it's the titties. Look at this thing. It's huge. You can't even get it in the shot. But it's if you want high quality stuff that's going to last, and this guy, Devin Walsh at Geiger. Geiger's the company. He's the rep or whatever, however it goes, his own little company. But Geiger's the top promotional product company in the country, I think. It's top 2 or 3, if not the first. But you can call Devin Walsh and get this stuff. And I'm going to tell you right now, if you use GreenBean, just say, hey, GreenBean sent me, or GreenBean. Just mention it. He'll know what you're talking about. I'm going to put his phone number and contact information in the description of this video. And you can call him directly. And look, if he doesn't answer the phone, leave a message. Just say, GreenBean sent me. Call him back, you turd. Just say it like that. And he'll call you back within 30 minutes. How's that sound? He'll give you 10% off if you mention GreenBean. And if you're looking, if you have a company already and you're not psyched with the products, I got these t-shirts made. Dude, I shit you not. 2 washes and I can't read what's going on. It's why would I continue to buy that stuff? This thing, and it's funny. He said, you drink all these Monsters. What are they paying you? And he's right. If you want me to keep showing your damn brand on camera, Monster, you better start sponsoring me, kid. So anyway, look at this stuff. I got a bag in there too. And I'd like to remind you, it's one of the greatest things you can do to support the people who are giving you real scoops, real stories. You know what I mean? Or at minimum, real opinions. Cutting through the horse shit. Give us a sub. Give me just that little subscribe button. I'll put it right over here, I think. Boop. It looks just like that. Where's it going to be? Did I do all right? So you put it right. You just click that button and all is well, man. It helps us out a great deal. If you're really happy, you're really in a good mood, hit the like button. It's great, man. And you can go to, if you want to chat with me, I chat with literally, dozens a day, other Jets fans. On Instagram, I'm GreenBean, the Jets fan. On Twitter, I'm Bean, the Jets fan. And I'm also over at Jetnation. That's the show On the Road with GreenBean. We just put out our newest video where we look at potential sleepers in the draft. Yeah, some guys you might not have heard of. Try to dig deep for you. That's over there. You can see that at Jetnation on YouTube, and you can also go to jetnation.com. We're wrapping up our huge 3-week mock draft over there. Full 7-round, all 32 team mock. But look, if you want Jets talk, man, you're not getting enough on Twitter. Jetnation is the place. Jetnation.com. Click on forums. You'll see what I'm talking about. I'm there all the time. It's funny. People are like, "Oh, I can't believe that you actually come here." Like you know, I thought I was only on YouTube. Nah, I started Jetnation's where I live, man. Jetnation's where I live. That's my Jets home. It's my Jets home. So now let's segue this into the other story of the week. So we're going to tail end this. We're on the tail end of the big trade, right? So Joe Douglas, all these rumors have been coming out for months about what's he going to do with Sam Darnold. Is he going to keep him? You know, it's funny. You hear these guys, they said he's going to trade him. 2nd and a 5th. That's what he's going to get. A month goes by and they go, I think he's going to get a 1st. Yeah. I think he's going to get a 1st. So now he said 2nd, 5th, 1st. Then a month goes by, nothing happens. And he says, I think he's going to get like a 3rd. I think the market's dried up. They're going to get a 3rd. And then what was the last report before the trade? I think he's even good. They're contemplating keeping Sam and drafting a quarterback at number 2. You talk about covering your ass. You know what I mean? That's everything. He's going to trade him for a 1st. He's going to trade him for a 2nd and a 5th. He's going to trade him for a 3rd or a 4th. Then he's going to keep him. It's like, that's everything. I said it. So whatever. And it's funny because the thing that happened, nobody said. It's hilarious. So we trade Sam Darnold to the Carolina Panthers for a 2nd-round pick and a 4th-round pick in 2022 and a 6th-round pick in 2021. Interestingly, I want to point out a theme I'm seeing with Joe Douglas. He likes to use his picks for something and then trade and get those picks back. He likes having his full repertoire. He doesn't want gaps in the draft, which is, I'm telling you, I'm paying attention. Like, for example, I'll give you, and then we'll get back to this. I'll give you the example. 2 years ago, when he first comes on the scene, Mike McCagnon they're just the worst offseason ever. Spends $120 million, gets nothing for it, does the worst draft I've ever seen. So he needs to get some vet cornerbacks on the team. Tremaine Johnson's a turd in the whole thing. He's got Andre Roberts. So he trades the 6th-round pick to the Colts and gets Nate Hairston, a conditional 6th. So Nate Hairston doesn't play enough to trigger the what's the word I'm looking for? The conditions. Conditional. So he doesn't trigger the condition, so the Jets get the 6th-round pick back. He feels kind of douchey, I imagine. He says to the Colts, yeah, man, that wasn't on purpose. I'll give you that 6th back. Same 6th. You give me another cornerback you're going to cut. So we'll make it all clean. So he wraps that up nice and neat. Right? He wraps it up nice and neat. Gets 2 vet guys in here. Hey, took a shot. I don't think anybody was expecting Nate Hairston or Quincy Wilson to light the world on fire or anything. It was a shot. And he gave them their 6-pack. So that was kind of whatever. So just give me a guy you're going to throw away and I'll take him and see if we can use him. So then he trades the 6th-round pick to the Patriots, which blew everybody's doors off. Why are the Jets trading with the Patriots? Because Joe Douglas doesn't care. He's not bound by the previous ideals. It's like, why can't I trade with them if they have something? Traded with the Giants, with the Patriots, with the Dolphins, all in 1 year. It's crazy. So he gives them a 6th-round pick for Demaryius Thomas. We used Demaryius Thomas all year. He's adequate. We don't re-sign him. And then in the draft, he trades with the Patriots and gets that exact 6th-round pick back. So we have it this year in the trade, the draft day trade, the second, in the 3rd round, 4th round. So he gets his picks back. And then this time, he used his fourth. And he, in the Seattle trade for Jamal Adams, he traded Jamal Adams, gets 2 first-round picks, and then takes his 4th-round pick. He takes his 2022 4th-round pick and makes it a 2021 3rd-round pick. You see how that goes? So we didn't have a 4th-round pick next year because of the Jamal Adams trade. So what does he do in the Sam Darnold trade? He keys in. He says, I want that pick back. It's an interesting thing. I'm sure it's not the priority of a trade, but it's interesting how that's been happening. He keeps doing it. It's clean, and I appreciate that. I do. So he trades Sam Darnold for a 2nd-round pick and a 4th-round pick in 2022 and a 6th-round pick in 2021. Now, who came out and said that it was poor value for the 32nd ranked quarterback? Now, and I'm not throwing stones at Sam Darnold. You guys know, I've said it enough. I liked Sam Darnold. I thought it was time to move on, but not without internal, strife. Like, I didn't like it. I didn't like how it was ending up. It bothered the shit out of me. I thought the world of Sam Darnold, and I still think the world of him. Like, even when Adam Gase was fired, what did he do? He didn't say, good, that guy's the biggest piece of shit in the world. He said, it's my fault. Right? So, it's like, look, like I said, I thought it was time to move on. Just everything being what it is, new regime, you can't. It doesn't make sense. It's too risky. So I get it. But it bothered me, and I didn't like it, but it was what it was. So Joe Douglas trades. He gets a 2nd, a 4th, and a 6th. And everybody says, yeah, that's good value. Just a week before, they were talking about lucky to get a 3rd. Remember? The market's dried up. Lucky to get a 3rd. And then, so what comes out a week later? Joe Douglas turned down a 1st-round pick, just so you know. Number 12 overall, clean. The Niners wanted to give the Jets number 12 overall, and Joe Douglas turned it down. So let me ask you a question. Now, that's not to say it's not true. Maybe it's true. But 2 things. One is, where was that report for the past 3 months? Where was that report? It comes out now? Why does it come out now? That's one thought. The other thought is, 2 weeks ago, didn't you say that the Jets and 49ers did not speak concerning trades? Wasn't that the report? Remember that? When Miami and that whole thing and trade number 2? And so I thought they didn't talk, which I knew was bullshit right then. Remember, I made the whole video. Of course they talked. But these are their reports. This was everybody's report. The Jets and 49ers did not speak about trades. Now, the Jets and 49ers talked about trades. They talked, and the Jets turned down a 12 overall pick for Sam Darnold, which I have trouble believing. But let's assume it's true for a second. Okay? Like the 12th overall pick. Come on. But let's say it's true for a second. And you look at the reasoning why. Now, when you have somebody that's thorough and they perform due diligence in every instance, there's significant positives with a person like that. But there's a negative to everything. There's always a negative. There's a yin and yang, man. Come on. We know this. There's always a yin and yang. There's always both sides to every story, every coin. And there's always going to be a pro and a con to everything. You just got to look at, do the pros outweigh the cons or vice versa, right? That's how we do things in this world. So when you look at a guy like Joe Douglas, who by and large looks like he's a thorough guy. If it's true, and he said, look, I'm just not ready to pull the trigger, the reasoning behind that would be, number one, we're thinking about keeping him. I have the 3rd overall pick from 2 years ago. He's 24 years old at season's start. And I don't know anything about these guys coming out. I know Trevor Lawrence is probably not on the table. I got to look at these guys. Because if I don't like him, if Zach Wilson comes and he fails a physical because of his shoulder, and we don't like Trey Lance or whatever it is, if he makes the trade and then finds out he hates these 3 quarterbacks at number 2, and then he's screwed, right? So I get it. Now, like I said, I have hard time believing that he just straight up turned down the number 12 overall pick, because you can do a lot with that thing, right? And looking at the way Joe Douglas has done in his trades, that would clearly be a coup, right? Getting it back, getting the top 15 pick back. So, but if it is true, you can understand it. And now that's a con. Maybe he got a little bit less value. So we're talking about the 12th overall this year, a second and a fourth and a sixth. Clearly a 12 outweighs it, but not by, it's not like obscene. It's not obscene. 3 players, lower quality versus the 1 player, top 15. So again, it's not the negative that I think it's trying to be portrayed as. And really, the way I see it is that it's simply a mechanism to devalue the trade that Joe Douglas did get, which was higher than everybody was saying at that time. Can that be debated? We were reading articles about a third or a fourth at that time. So can it be debated that Joe Douglas got more than they were talking about? It's a good trade. It's a good trade for Carolina. It's a great trade for Sam Darnold, and it's a good trade for the Jets. It was a good trade. So now we got a report that tries to pull the rug out from under it. It's just horseshit. And it's exhausting when you it's like taking the red pill in the Matrix. I think it was the red one. It's we can just keep hunkadory walking through this world. And it's once you see it, it's hard to turn it off. It's just what is this crap? It's constant. Who the hell is Shap? Where are you coming from? What does he even work for? I never see this guy. I never hear a single thing about this guy. He's not on the national scene from my perspective. I just don't know him. But it's every now and then he comes out with this venomous article toward the Jets. And it's just exhausting, man. So now I'm in this fucking loop where I can't let it take over, right? It's only 1 week, so it's fine. But it's I can't let this constantly take over. But here's the thing. If you look at what's going on with the Jets, compare it to what has gone on. The period of time that everybody's stuck talking about. If you compare it straight up, head to head, it's light years different. It's a different scene. It's a different scene. So the draft is 10 days away. 10 days away. And the conversations have moved from who are we taking with the second overall pick to who we taking with the 23rd overall pick. Because it seems like a lock, right? At minimum, it's a quarterback at 2, right? So that's fine. I'm still not convinced. I'm just not. I just think there's too much time, and I think that the talking is happening. These guys don't know anything about anything. Nobody's calling the Jets because they know. Bullshit. I bet every single team has called the Jets and gauged what they're looking for. It's just, you wouldn't be doing your job if you didn't. Why wouldn't you check? So I think that's happened. And I'm not convinced that at the last moment somebody's going to throw caution to the wind and offer the big bad booty daddy. That's what I think. Now, I don't know if Joe Douglas is going to take it. He traded away Sam Darnold, so he's kind of in a position here. He's in a pocket. But let's say he trades. Let's say Detroit comes and offers their 4 first-round picks for the next 2 years. One of them is at 7. So you go back to 7. You gain their additional I don't think it's this year. So they have 2 firsts next year and 2 firsts the year following, I think is how it goes. So what if they offer you 4 of those and a third? You know what I mean? So to go back to 7 and take Trey Lance or Mac Jones, I don't know. So that's the thing. It's I don't know. I'm not convinced. And I think it's going to happen. At least the offer. Somebody's calling. when the Jets are on the clock, and they're going to say, hey, real quick, we've talked about it. I'm willing to do it. Take it or leave it right now. 4 firsts, a third to go back to 7. So I go, sure, let's do it. And they come up and take whoever. They jump the Shark. They jump the Niners. Niners are stewing because they take the guy they wanted. And now they're stuck with the other guy, and they say, it worked out in our favor. It's the best. Yeah. And they're like, mother. So I don't know. I'm not convinced. But let's just leave it there, right? Let's say we're taking a quarterback at 2. And we're taking Zach Wilson. So that's our guy. Man, I don't know how you guys do it. All these graphics with, the guy, the player wearing our uniforms. Honestly, it scares the shit out of me. You guys can make anything look like anything anymore. I don't know how you do it. It scares me, but I've seen them. They're all over the place. I've seen more Zach Wilson stuff in Jets gear in the past week than I've seen of him wearing BYU stuff. It's crazy, right? So everybody thinks that's our guy. Let's leave it. So that brings us to 23 and 34. So 11 picks later, we have two picks in an 11-pick span. That's exciting. It's exciting, man. 23 and 34. Ooh. What you could do. So here's some schools of thought. One is we're going to take offensive line. You can't play games. You cannot play games. There's a couple guys that are probably going to be there at 23 who won't be there at 34, so you got to look at it. Namely, Elijah Vera-Tucker's probably not even going to make it there. But if he did, so you got Vera-Tucker, Wyatt Davis, Creed Humphrey, Landon Dickerson, who scares me. Too many injuries for a first-round pick. I could see that guy sliding to the 3rd just because, man. It's like the premium draft capital, scary, So that's one school of thought. Take Creed Humphrey, man. He's sitting there. He's not going to make it past both Pittsburgh and the Green Bay Packers. I think if he's there for the Green Bay pick, he's gone. That's how I see it. So he's not going to make it to 34, and that's the guys you want to look at. You want to look at the guys that are not going to be there at 34 to make an educated guess later. You got a batch of guys that either squoze through past the top 20 that shouldn't have, right? You got guys like Kwity Paye, Gregory Rousseau at the edge position. Maybe even a Caleb Farley because of the surgery, popping through the top 20. By all accounts, he shouldn't, right? Maybe even a J.C. Horn. So you got cornerbacks like that. I think Surtain's going to be taken by them. So if they're there at 23, if J.C. Horn is sitting there at 23, I got to think he's not going to make it to 34, right? And these are the guys you want to look at. So you got those edge rushers. You got those guards or centers. You have those cornerbacks, right? And then you look at a tight end like Pat Freiermuth. If Pat Freiermuth is sitting there at 23, well, he might make it to 34 because there's just other needs out there and other guys. But it's something to consider. Those are our needs, right? We need look at the wide receivers. Like if Kadarius Toney's sitting there at 23, you think he's going to make it to 34? I will say the shakeup, the breakdown of how it all landed last year with the wide receivers was other than I thought. But I'll tell you right now, guys like Laviska Shenault who made it further than I thought they would, man, they proved you might have wanted to take them instead of Jalen Reagor, who's fine. But it was like flipped. It was backwards to me. Denzel Mims making it where he made it, it's an atrocity. So who knows? Maybe Kadarius Toney's a third-round pick this year. I don't know. Right? I don't think he should be. So if Kadarius Toney's sitting there, if Terrace Marshall's sitting there, you think they're not going to make it to 34, most likely. They're most likely not going to make it. Those guys. They shouldn't even be standing here right now. So then you can take it. So if you're all O-line, you just make it neat and squozy. Just tie it up neat in a bow. We're gonna protect this guy we just drafted, and we grab Creed Humphrey or Wyatt Davis, right? Or, so you just do that, and then you wait till 34 and see who's there. But like I said before, I think I mentioned this last week. The offensive line strength. That's the strength of the draft, man. It's quarterback and O-line. So if you let Creed Humphrey, Landon Dickerson, Josh Myers go in that early part because you want to take a falling Kwity Paye or Kwity Paye, I think. Because guys like Josh Myers, Quinn Miners, Drake Jackson, Trey Hill out of Georgia, they're going to be there. So you can get Kwity Paye and Josh Myers or Creed Humphrey and a substantially diminished edge guy later or cornerback. So that it's school of thoughts, right? So one is just take the offensive lineman and call it a day, man. Just don't play games. Just do it. Or you can play the draft strength game. Because, there's logic there, man. Just don't play games. Just grab the top offensive lineman on your board at that time. You need them, and you shouldn't play games. You never know what will happen after that. If he's sitting there right there, just take him. The other side is the edge that are going to be there at 23, the cornerbacks that are going to be there at 23, are more than likely going to be significantly better than the guys sitting there at 34, 66. But the offensive linemen are going to be a little bit closer. The drop-off isn't as severe. So I wonder. Next week, I'm going to tell you exactly how I see it going. Right now, I'm still like, I don't know. But we're looking. We got 10 days, man. 10 days. We'll be doing the Monday Night Mock tonight. I got Ali coming from loyal New York Jets fans, man. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. So he's coming on tonight. Next week for the final Monday Night Mock, the 10 o'clock mock, we have the goddamn Jets show coming on. All three of them cats over there, man. They're fun guys and girl, but as a group, guys. See what I'm saying? Is that okay anymore? I don't even know. I call everybody guys. Like 4 girls. I'm like, hey, guys, come here. Maybe that's old. Maybe that's antiquated. I don't know. Let me know in the comments. Is it antiquated? Can I say guys and refer to a girl? But anywho, the whole group of them are coming. The whole show. They're going to be here. All 4 of us, and we'll wrap this Monday Night Mock thing up for 2021 up in style. So next week I'll tell you all about it. This week it's like pondering. I think... Let me give you a thought, and we'll wrap this up. My thought is to just cleanly grab your O-lineman and see who's falling later. Make this the draft of O-linemen, sprinkle in some slot receivers, get me a tight end at 66, best tight end there. If Brevin Jordan makes it that far, which he won't, grab him. If Hunter Long's there, grab him. But I think this should just be my thought is just make this the draft of O-linemen and sprinkles. Make the O-line as dominant as you can this year, and that includes pipeline guys. So get me 3. Get me 3 offensive linemen out of our 10 picks this year. Get me another receiver. Get me an edge. Get me 2 linebackers, because that's the thing. If Zaven Collins is sitting there at 23, who shouldn't be there, he's not going to make it to 34. There's no way, in my opinion. If he's sitting there, and Quinn Miners will be there at 34, what do? You get Zaven Collins and Quinn Miners? Or Creed Humphrey and Ronnie Perkins? You know what I mean? That kind of a thing. Anyway, so I think that's my thought right now. My thought, and it could be the same next week. My thought right now is like, you know what, man? Don't play with the strength of the draft. Just grab the strength of the draft by the horns. It's strong for a reason. Why should other teams grab the strength of the draft? Just use it. Take it and see who falls later and take the best of the bunch. You'll get your tight ends, and there's some good cornerbacks. Definitely some slot corners are going to slide. You know? No doubt. Everybody wants a 6'2" cornerback, 6 foot, 6'1". You know, everybody wants that guy. The slot guys, the 5'11s, they're going to 5'10". They'll be there later. Grab them. So, again, I didn't even mention my coaster tour, but guys, we're rocking out here, man. I'm putting out the videos. I put 4 videos out last week. If you have any interest in roller coasters or just seeing what the hell's going on with the family who sold all their possessions to ride roller coasters instead, that's what we're doing. Full-time coaster tour on YouTube. You can see all of our videos. We're really ramping it up, man, because the season's opening. Last year was rough. I only made it to 6 parks last year. And instead of the 40 that I had scheduled, we had 40 parks scheduled. We made it to 6 because of COVID, right? Scary times, man. So this year it looks different. We already made it to like 4, 5 this year already. So it's ramping up. I'm going to take you guys around the country to ride every roller coaster that America has, even in Canada if they let us in. But you can find us at Full-Time Coaster Tour. Don't forget to like and subscribe right here. It means the world to me. It really does, man. If you have any comments, anything like that, please let me know. I try to answer every comment. Don't forget the Monday Night Mock. Only 2 left this year. And don't forget the Thursday Thick of It, every Thursday, 8 to 10, where I just take your questions. Whatever we want to talk about, we talk about. And last week it got crazy. We were talking about addiction medicine. I don't know. We do anything you want on that one. So, anywho, guys, I love you. I think the world of you. Jets fans are the absolute best. Don't let anybody tell you different. Don't let anybody tell you different. And if you like Sam Darnold more than Zach Wilson, that's okay too. If you think Mo Lewis sucks, that's okay. You're wrong. You know, it's okay. If you're going to root for Sam Darnold in Carolina, that's okay. It's all good. We're Jets fans. We're going to do what we do. Don't worry. As soon as Sam Darnold throws for, whatever, 10 touchdowns in his first 2 games, whatever it is, you'll hate him. Trust me. I've been here. Been around a long time. I know how this shit goes. I didn't root for James Farrier on the Steelers. You know what I mean? I didn't root for Sanchez on the Eagles. No. When he came out that one game and had a good game, remember that? All my Eagles fans called me. I was like, okay, just watch. Didn't even make the playoffs that year. And that made me happy because I'm a grumpy bastard. So don't worry about it. You do whatever you got to do. We're Jets fans. We speak up for each other. We stand for each other, and that's the way it should be. Don't forget that, man. It's us against the world. Make no fucking mistake. Don't forget Devin Walsh at Geiger. I'll put all his information in the bottom in the description down there. With that all said, I hope you're having a lovely day. The sun's coming out. See it? The sun's coming out. I'm grateful for that. I'll see you tonight at the bar.